Next in Health Watch, a 15-year-old suddenly slipped into liver failure.
I got really scared then because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me?
Health Watch reporter Beth Galvin talks to her about the transplant she needs to save her life.
And later,
Fox 5 Health Watch.
lately, every time the phone rings, Kelly and Mike Collins of Canton catch their breath.
Their teenage daughter, Annie, is waiting for a liver transplant, and each phone call brings hope that a donor organ has come through for her. Health Watch reporter Beth Galvin joins us with Annie's story. Beth?
Lisa and Art, 6 months ago, Annie Collins was running cross country and cheering for the American Heritage Academy Eagles. Her doctors don't know what caused her to develop a rare liver disorder, but she did. And today, Annie Collins is caught in a waiting game. In the world of cheerleading, 15-year-old Annie Collins is what's known as a flyer, the smallest girl who seems to always end up at the top of the pack.
So much fun once you do it and you're up there and people are watching you and clapping you.
But back in February, when this home video was shot, the Canton teen noticed her new uniform was getting tight around her tummy, really tight.
I was getting big, like right here, and I thought I was, gaining weight. I was like, oh great, I need to start running. So I was running on the elliptical and doing 100 sit-ups a day.
Annie's parents, Mike and Kelly Collins, thought she was going through typical teenage weight gain, so they weren't all that worried at first.
But there was one day that she went up to the refrigerator and she was getting some water. And I looked at her physique and it just didn't look quite right. I noticed that her ribs were expanded. And I thought, now that's not the way you normally gain weight.
The Collinses took Annie to her pediatrician, where the news was not good. Her abdomen was packed with fluid and her liver dangerously swollen.
I got really scared then because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And so I was kind of scared to go to the Scottish Rite. I'm like, I'm fine, really, let's just go home. Let's go to the movies or something.
But this could not wait. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta transplant surgeon Dr. Thomas Heffron says Annie's liver is twice the size it should be.
So it should be about like that.
Suddenly, the young cross-country runner and athlete was in serious trouble.
They pretty well had us, her liver was not functioning, it was shutting down that night.
They were saying, we think she's in liver failure. Well, to me, as a parent, I didn't know what that meant. I knew nothing, and I didn't know if what we were talking about, I didn't know if she was going to die.
Annie Collins was diagnosed with Budd-Chiari syndrome, a rare condition that causes the veins flowing out of her liver to shut down. In March, Dr. Heffron tried to relieve the swelling by inserting a shunt, but the surgery was called off because the cirrhosis or scarring of her liver was much worse than doctors expected. A biopsy showed about 80% of Annie's liver is already dead, leaving her with one chance, a transplant.
Because she's getting sicker, she's becoming more weak, she's not able to stay awake as much, she's getting more fluid in her tummy.
Usually before this, I was all hyper all the time and preppy and all smiles, and then now I'm just kind of tired. I'm gonna sleep now.
But as sick as Annie is, a transplant was tough to swallow at first.
For me, I was thinking, I didn't want to go down this road. And maybe 24 hours later, it hit me. I thought, you know what? Thank goodness there is something that they can do, and you're just, through this whole process, you're constantly having to change the way you think.
Now the Collinses have their suitcases packed, waiting for a call that a liver has come through for Annie.
It's just kind of more nervous now, but I'm excited because I want to get this all over with and I want to get back to normal.
Because children's surgeons were worried that Annie could suddenly develop a complication that would rule out a transplant, they appealed to get her placed higher on the waiting list. And it worked. She's now at the top.
Now we just wait. I mean, that's the hard thing. Hard for the family, hard for her.
I'm just ready to go. Like every morning I wake up, I'm like, maybe today will be the day.
And Annie's surgeon, Thomas Heffron, has performed more than 600 liver transplants in Atlanta in the last 10 years. Nearly 300 of them were in children. And he says if Annie can get a liver while she is still stable, she has a better than 90% chance that she will go on to live a very healthy, normal life. But for now, she and her family just wait.
That is good news that she could go on to live a normal, healthy life. And you just feel for her. If they find a liver, how long will it take for them to actually have to actually do the transplant?
They don't have a lot of time. They only have about 12 hours once the recovery team removes the liver from the donor to get it into Annie while it's still viable. So everybody has to be sort of on board. It has to move beautifully like clockwork in order to make this happen. And hopefully, you know, people will sign their driver's license, sign up to be donors, because really once you're gone, you know, what are you going to do with your organs?
Yeah, and she really needs it.
Yes, she does.
So young. You hate to see people so
Yes.
young have to go through such a challenge. Beth, thanks. Some members of the Arizona